what are you doing? Are you lazing? Come on, we're gonna read this. You know that. Okay, Genesis 29. Okay, you go back to laying over here. Then Jacob went on his journey and came to the land of the sons of the east. What is happening? He looked and saw a well in the field, and behold, 3 flocks of sheep were lying there beside it. For from what well they were watered the flocks. Sorry, I'm being distracted by some commotion. He looked and he saw a well in the field, and behold, 3 flocks of sheep were lying there beside it. For from that well they watered the flocks. Now the stone on the mouth of the well was large. When all the flocks were gathered there, they would then roll the stone from the mouth of the well and water the sheep, and put the stone back into its place on the mouth of the well. Jacob said to them, "My brothers, where are you from?" And they said, "We are from Haran." He said to them, "Do you know Laban, the son of Nahor?" And they said, "We know him." And he said to them, "Is it well with him?" And they said, "It is well, and here is Rachel his daughter, coming with the sheep." He said, "Behold, it is still a high day, and it is not time for the livestock to be gathered. Water the sheep, and go pasture them." But they said, "We cannot, until all the flocks are gathered." And they rolled the stone from the mouth of the well. Then we water the sheep. While he was still speaking with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she was a shepherdess. When Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban's mother's brother, his mother's brother, Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, Jacob went up and rolled the stone from the mouth of the well and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. Then kissed Rachel and lifted his voice and wept. Jacob told Rachel that he was a relative of her father and that he was Rebekah's son, and she ran and told her father. So then Laban heard the news of Jacob, his sister's son. He ran to meet him. He embraced him, he kissed him, and he brought him into his house. Then he related to Laban all these, or Laban, how do you want to say it? And then he related to Laban all these things. Laban said to him, "Surely you are my bone and my flesh." And he stayed with him a month. And Laban said to Jacob, "Because you are my relative, should you therefore serve me for nothing? Tell me, what shall your wages be?" Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. And Leah's eyes were weak, but Rachel was beautiful of form and face. Her eyes were weak. Now Jacob loved Rachel. I mean, yeah, what was happening here? Rachel. So Jacob went on his journey. He came to the land of the sons of the east. He looked and he saw a well, 3 flocks of sheep. Now the stone in the mouth. They said, "Well, here's his daughter coming with his sheep." He said, "Behold, it is still high day. It is not time for the livestock to be gathered. Water the sheep and go pasture them." But they said, "No, we cannot until the flocks are gathered." And they rolled a stone from the mouth. I think he was trying to get rid of these dudes so he could talk to her. I'm just trying to figure out what was going on there. While he was still speaking, then Rachel came. When he saw her and the sheep, he went and he rolled the stone from the mouth of the well and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother, out of politeness, I suppose. Then he kissed Rachel, perhaps her hand, and lifted his voice and wept. Okay. Who knows? I don't know. So he likes her. He saw her first. It was love at first sight, I guess. Now, Jacob loved Rachel, he said, I will serve you 7 years for your younger daughter Rachel. Laban said, it is better that I give her to you than to give her to another man. Stay with me. So Jacob served 7 years for Rachel. And they seemed to him but a few days because of his love for her. Wow. He said, I'll serve you 7 years for your younger daughter Rachel. 7 years. Huh, okay. Wow. They seemed to him but a few days because of his love for her. Then Jacob said to Laban, give me my wife, for my time is completed, that I may go in to her, to the marriage tent, to marry her. Laban gathered all the men of the place and made a feast. Now in the evening he took his daughter Leah and brought her to him, and Jacob went in to her. Face plant. What? Come on. Wow. Really, Jacob? Really? Really? You didn't realize? Laban also gave his maid Zilpah to his daughter Leah as a maid. So it came about in the morning that, behold, it was Leah. You couldn't tell? And what happens to the man who was a deceiver? He gets deceived. Doesn't feel so good. Aha. Come on, though. Yikes. So it came about in the morning, behold, it was Leah, and he said to Laban, what is this that you have done to me? Was it not for Rachel that I served with you? Why then have you deceived me? I guess that's where his sister learned it from. But Laban said, Laban, I think I like saying it Laban better, but Laban said, it is not the practice of our place, it is not the custom of our place to marry. It is not done thus in our place to marry off the younger before the firstborn. Do you think he was angry when he said that? Angry back? You shouldn't have even asked me that, you jerk. I don't know. I mean, maybe he knew he's scamming him, I guess. Complete the week of this one, and we will give you the other also for the service which you shall serve me for another 7 years. Scamming. Jacob did so and completed her week, and he gave him his daughter Rachel as his wife. 14 years later, Laban also gave his maid Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as her maid. So Jacob went into Rachel also. And indeed he loved Rachel more than Leah. And he served with Laban another 7 years. Oh, wait. So he completed the week. Complete the week of this one, and we will give you the other also for the service which you shall serve me for another 7 years. So he's going to keep him 7 years, but he's going to let him marry Rachel as well. Okay, so Jacob went into Rachel also. And indeed he loved Rachel more than Leah and served with Laban another 7 years. Now the Lord saw that Leah was unloved, and he opened her womb. But Rachel was barren. Leah conceived and bore a son and named him Reuben. For she said, because the Lord has seen my affliction, surely now my husband will love me. Oh. Then she conceived again and bore a son and said, because the Lord has heard that I am unloved, he has therefore given me this son also. So she named him Simeon. She conceived again and bore a son and said, now this time my husband will become Lava, attracted to me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore his name was Levi. And she conceived again and bore a son, and this time I will Jada. And she conceived again and bore a son, and said, this time I will praise the Lord. This time I will praise the Lord. She's realizing, hey, this guy is still a little sour kitten about what happened. I will praise Yahweh. Therefore she named him Judah. Then she stopped bearing. Well, many lessons in that one. Make sure you're marrying a certain person that you think you're marrying. Make sure you're marrying the person you actually think you're marrying. Yeah. But the most important lesson is praise Yahweh. She conceived again, bore a son. This time I will praise Yahweh.